Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. So tonight we're going to be looking at February 2025 predictions. The reason that I'm doing this is because I did predictions last month in January that was supposed to last for the year. And well, time is speeding up. Clearly, this timeline that we are in is going faster and faster. Like I said, we'd kind of like start to change a little bit, into a timeline. Things will start getting settled, as we go into the spring and then certainly into the summer. But I don't think we're done doing whatever timeline shift we're doing for a few more months. And so normally an hour straight of just predictions would have lasted all 12 months. That wasn't the case. So I really felt like we need to revisit everything and take a look. Primarily, we're going to be looking at weather shifts, economic changes, and food concerns. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, comment, check out membership. This is a huge month for membership. Angel members, you are getting a Galactic Confederation live channeling with Q&A. And then we are also doing a live channeling for you with the Keepers of the Ancient Wisdom, a Sirius collection. Sirians are the ones that are closest to us, the closest star system, and they're trying to help us. And then everybody, March 2nd, there is a class. Check out the post, which used to be the community tab. It's at the Awaken Your Mind and Above level. All the details are there. It's the Star Seed Money Code. Unlocking your galactic abundance frequencies. It's a 2-hour live class to help align you with the high vibration of wealth and activating, the quantum field of money. So, because money doesn't buy happiness, but money can help buy you security and the things that you need, which we're going to be talking about in this. So quick shout out. Hello, Sylvan, Robin, Kristen, Bernadette, Rory, Maggie, Charlesy, Elise, welcome. Thank you everybody for tuning in on a Tuesday night. It's cold here in Massachusetts. We are bracing for another storm. I just wanted to quickly show you all the jewelry that I have on is from Ana Luisa. And when you get Ana Luisa stuff, it's so cool. It comes in the red box. When they asked me to do something for Valentine's Day, it was such a fast yes. I do have the Aquarius necklace and the celestial earrings. For Valentine's, I do have the heart bracelet, and you can see how it comes, in a great red box. And I'll show you the heart earrings before we move on. I'm sorry, 2-year warranty, designed right in New York. And there is a discount code down below for up to 25% off. The more you buy, the more you save. So just wanted to show you that before we move on. And we'll be doing a 3-card pick at the end with a set of cards I've never used before. I just got them, so I think that's kind of exciting. So, okay, let's get into it. Weather shifts. So I had predicted the wildfires in California. But if you remember, I said, there's going to be a lot of fire and a lot of water this year. And I think this is going to be a recurring theme. And the way that I'm seeing it is that it's hitting the 4 corners of the US. And if you know anything about where I live up in, the Northeast, we had something happen. And I feel like I keep saying this to you guys. I am experiencing weather I've never had. You guys know that I lived through those wildfires. They lasted over a month here. My windows still have plastic on them because I'm afraid to take them off. The air quality was so bad. About 18 months ago, we had 2 tornadoes where I was living. I was living a little bit further south in Mass. We had 2 tornadoes touch down. Well, last week, for the first time, didn't know what was happening. I was laying in bed. My 20-year-old cat, Annie, is meowing. She's pacing. She's acting funny. We were under the heated blanket. I don't know what was going on. I get up. I'm walking around. I'm like, what's wrong? What's happening? Couldn't figure it out. Get back in bed. She crawls up and she's meowing like, Mom, get up. All of a sudden, everything starts shaking and everything starts falling off my walls. Literally, the wreath that I had on the inside of my living room door came down, crashed, broke, because I had a ceramic light up house. The crystals up here came down. I noticed I just missed a set of oracle cards that fell down. So, okay, so the 4 corners is my point. Lots of shifts. the ground is angry, right? The earth is angry. The earth is purging. We're going towards fourth density. And as we're going towards fourth density, there's going to be upheaval. And I also just get all this fire and an unprecedented amount of rain. Okay. And that is for the four corners of the US. I think they're all going to have difficulties to the point that I'm going to go ahead and make this prediction. You're going to start seeing people slowly but surely as time goes on migrating away from those areas because of the unpredictability, but also because the houses are going to lose value and you're not going to be able to get house insurance. You know, I've lived on Cape Cod. I know what that's like. That was hellacious trying to get house insurance. And, you know, that was years ago and it cost a small fortune. And so, and it's because even though like I wasn't right on the beach, I was determined to be beachfront property. I was a mile away from the beach. And so it was kind of crazy. So I really think that these weather patterns are going to change. Now this week I am having another video come out because I think it needs a video all to itself, because I was getting these feelings like there's something about the Dust Bowl that just keeps coming back to me. And it's funny, the thing about the Dust Bowl that really strikes me is that we were never taught, or I was never taught, and nobody that I know was ever taught about the Dust Bowl that happened, you know, with the extreme weather, you know, the wind and the dust and how it affected our agriculture, our crops. Nobody ever seems to talk about that. And so I feel like there is a direct parallel. When I started to get deeper into it, we are having very similar astrology. There's like three major bits of astrology that we are echoing right now. And so I'm going to do a separate separate video on that, because that is going to affect our agriculture. That is going to affect our food. Okay. That's great if you were taught about the Dust Bowl. It's American history. You should have been. But honestly, when I say that to anyone that I know, they're like, what's that? Or they saw it from a movie. But okay. So that is what I'm saying. The four corners are going to get hit. And I think sooner than later. So this is like a February prediction that February is going to remain tumultuous for the two tops and two bottoms of the country. Okay. Oh my gosh. So this is what I love about people. And I have to say, like, my tolerance for humans is like starting to get a little thin. So like, because I said I wasn't taught about it, now everyone's like, oh, I was taught about it. I was taught, all these books. Well, guess what? And I was going to do this in a separate video, and I will, but this does talk about our educational system, right? So some of these changes with our educational system, and it's going to get dismantled because it sort of needs to be. Now, why didn't I read American books? Why didn't I read American novels when I was in high school? I read very few. Do you want to know why? Because my generation did something called tracking. And with tracking, you were labeled. And the American books that would have talked about it was for college prep and lower. If you were in honors or AP like I was, you had Shakespeare. And so that's what we did, my entire generation, right? Which is not okay. I should have had way more exposure to the literature of my country. But I didn't, because somebody somewhere determined that I should really be focused more on older and European type literature. So, all right, economic changes. So yeah, that was something I predicted, but not for like right away, not for the first, few weeks, month or two. That's something that I was, really anticipating several months out. But no, like we're already there. So here's my prediction, is that we are going to see the banking system change. And when it happens, it's going to be a bit shocking, I think, to people. But I think those predictions that I made are solid in that 2025 video, where I said, there is nothing backing our dollar. Money really is just being printed. And I know some people are like, well, yeah, we already know that. And other people are like, no, that can't be true. I'm not here to debate. I'm just here to say, look, there's nothing backing our dollar. It's just a general consensus that I say $5 is $5 and you say, okay. That has to fall apart at some point. And I think this was going to happen no matter who's president. I mean, because we can't keep doing this. We're literally just printing money and pretending like it has value. And one thing that I do think we're going to see, and I think it's going to be sooner than later, that's why I'm putting it in this month's prediction, is the whole rise of crypto on a whole new and worldwide level. This is really the beginning of the end of the actual physical dollar. And I want you to just think about one thing, because that sounds a little scary, right? You know, and change is hard, and I get that. But imagine our entire system not having the middleman, just like we used to, like, you know, around 200 years ago, right? We didn't have the middleman. We didn't have these big, huge banks charging all this interest. If you were to just borrow money, okay, think about a 30-year mortgage. About 10 years of it, give or take, depending upon your terms. Do not write to me telling me what terms you have. But depending upon the terms that you have, give or take, it's about 10 years of straight up interest. Imagine if your average American only had to pay 20 years worth and not 30. What do people do with an extra 10 years of not having to pay a mortgage? What if people that went to school and borrowed money was just borrowing the money and there's no interest because there's no middleman? And now they're not stuck in crippling debt. And my predictions about education still remain true, that I do not think that, and I think the change is going to happen this year in a small way. I don't think schools are just going to up and go away this year, but I think you're going to see more and more online alternatives for everybody, for adult learners, for young learners. I think that's all going to change. Let's see, what else? I'm just looking at your comments. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here, by the way. Yes, my tolerance for humans. You know, as I get older, I understand that like idea of like that witch in the woods, you know, like she's just labeled a witch by society, right? But she's not really. It's just a woman by herself living in a cabin, feeding her deer. It's like, you know, oh, that looks more attractive some days. And, you know, and the whole thing with the IRS, I'm kind of also okay with that. You know, that's something that I can absolutely see happening this year, sooner than later. That being dismantled, because let's face it, they already know what we make. The whole notion of having to do taxes, going to an accountant, having attorneys, like all these things that we do, when there is an app for everything and the apps keep getting better, and maybe in some rare cases of the 1% that are looking for these loopholes that apps won't be able to do, then yeah, they'll still have the tax attorneys and all of that and the accountants. But no, I think this is the year. I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually the last year that we actually are filing the way we're filing. I think something needs to change. They already know how much we make. You know, we can enter in our expenses, or actually our expenses are already there in our banking apps and it'll just correlate. So, is Elon going to be deported? No, I do not think so, as much as I would like him to be. No, you know what? And that reminds me, I'm going to just write myself a note. I'm doing a separate video after this that I'll publish this week on him, what I see for the future of him. And my thing that I'm going to explore is, why is he doing this, right? He's like the richest man in the world. Why is he doing this? What exactly are his motives? What's his end game? What's he trying to do? Because obviously this is very manipulative. It's obviously very concerning what he did, you know, getting all of our sensitive information, you know, that is a problem. because I know in the past so many of you have asked me about Social Security and is it safe, what I would say is I think it's safe if you already get it or if you're about to get it in the next few years. I'm not willing to put like a hard number on this, but if you're going to retire in the next couple of years, I think it's fine. But I will honestly say that for myself and my generation, I never thought we would have it anyways. So, and I do feel like he's doing something with this, so I think we do need to look at why he was given access to this information, like having like 4 young people, like college kids do this. It just seemed really, really strange. And that's fine. Tracy, if you don't think that crypto is going to happen where you are, and I'm just trying to prepare you, that's it. It's going away. It just is what it is. And you will see people try to cling to the past for sure. But time is going to march on, and time is not marching, actually. It's running. Do you remember the prediction I gave you guys back in December? And I said it again in January in that predictions video for 2025. By the time February comes around, we're going to feel like we've lived a lot of life. And I think that's where we're at. I mean, think about how much we just lived through. Think about that. January was an extraordinary year to have that much happen. And some of this stuff is historical. It's like I keep saying, everything's unprecedented. I'm ready for precedented times. I don't know about you. This seems a little over the top. But like I said, I also thought it was going to be, a little bit longer lasting, not quite so fast. But yes, Debbie, we are evolving and we are the pioneers, right? We signed up for this. We really, really did. The other thing too that I can say, because I do such a large volume, and this is going to be changing, guys. If you actually do want just that simple half an hour psychic tarot reading with me, March is it. Because I am changing. I do need to, now it's time that I change and grow and evolve along with everything else. But I can tell you that I've gotten this psychically, and I've gotten this directly from all of my clients who really, for the most part, are liberal, they're Democrats, that my prediction about the two-party system going away, like I said in 2025, it's going to start. I'm changing that prediction. I think by the next election that we will already have other choices. And because I can tell you, based off what my clients are saying, I am hearing them say, I am never voting Democrat again. I don't know what to do. What am I supposed, and they're asking me, who do I vote for? Because I don't want what we just had. They didn't stand up for us. And now look at us. Now look what's going on. Especially the Jack Smith report came out and it said, well, look, if somebody had done something, 45 would have been in jail, but they didn't. And so I am seeing a massive turn. And I know some of you are going to protest that. You don't like that. But I can see that changing. You can also see the Republican Party imploding. The MAGAs aren't happy, and neither are the old school Republicans. So you put the two together. Nobody is happy with either party. Everybody's upset. Everybody's feeling betrayed and lied to. And I think at this point, there's going to just be another option. Whether that emerges as an actual third party or we just go more towards, I can tell, because I specialize in 20-year predictions, I can tell you we're going to go towards just individuals and not parties. That I can tell you. But I think it's going to happen sooner than later. Now, when I said something similar to you guys before, you had a hard time with this. When I said to you, look, I've gotten this in channeling messages. I've seen this, on a little bit of news that I watch. And I was right when everything was said and done, that it was going to hurt Biden with his policies with Israel. The college campuses were having massive protests. That mattered. That mattered. And so I think when you see some of these big shifts in society, you can see how people are going to vote. Okay. And the thing is, I'm not trying to tell you what to think or feel. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. But I mean, this channel has a 95, 96% accuracy rating. So I feel really good about my predictions in terms of their strength, not necessarily what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to say, anything negative and have it come true, but, I have to tell you what I get, even if you don't like it, and I know a lot of you were very angry when I said I didn't see the blue wave. I didn't see every state turning blue. And other people were telling you that they were. And, I'm sorry, but that's not what I saw, because that's not what I was getting psychically. Yeah, and I see in the comments here, everybody is saying, people are changing away from the parties. And so, yeah, let me take a sip of water. I have my grapefruit water. 45 is sick. He is absolutely sick. If you notice, there is no energy. There is just no energy. As somebody that reads energy, what I can tell you that they're doing is they're probably doing the IVs with the vitamins and minerals, and they're keeping him going because they need to keep him going for a little bit. Now, what I think will be interesting is, because we do know, whether you're psychic or not, something is coming his way, right? Beware the Ides of March. Mid-March into April, he's in danger, right? His astrology is terrible. I think before I knew the astrology, I knew something was going to happen. But we also knew that the astrology was really unsafe for him with the inauguration. And look at what he did. He pulled it inside. We've had colder days for inauguration, and it was outdoors. Obama's was quite cold. But he's aware. Like, you have to understand, these people use, psychics, astrologers, remote viewers. They may not admit to it publicly, but if they didn't, people like us wouldn't have a job. And so, yeah. So if he's aware of his astrology, he'll be super careful. But also, too, then I feel like June is another really bad time for him, like June, July. So he's not out of the woods, and I don't feel like he's healthy. Yes. And this administration will not be as bad as the last one. Nope, they're not going to get most passed. So if you noticed, I did not read on all of those executive orders, right? Why? Because he doesn't understand how it really works. It sounds terrible. It sounds scary, like the whole thing with the tariffs. You didn't see me on here reading about the tariffs. Well, it didn't even happen with Mexico and Canada. Because they're actually just giving us pretty much what they already was going to anyways. So when I did the cards, like, off camera, like a few days ago, I was like, is this actually going to happen? I mean, it's not good with China. And I am more afraid, not just with the prices with China, but with them retaliating. And that leads me into also illness. Because I think now, as a collective, we have seen how something microscopic can change our lives. Some sort of illness, a virus, can be weaponized. And so that does concern me. And I also find it very disturbing. And this will bring me into the third point, my third and last point with all this, is food concerns. And so, I know, like, everybody told you during the pandemic, you'd have to stock up on food and there'd be food shortages. I said, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I never stocked up on food. It was fine. Now, I think there's going to be especially certain foods that you're going to want to stock up on. First of all, if there's something that you really love that you can't live without, I would consider stocking up on that, just for peace of mind purposes. But the first thing that I got was citrus fruit. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hit the cord. Is citrus fruit. And that is kind of twofold. One, because of the weather. It was very striking when that lithium battery plant was burning in California and they had everybody out there picking the crops. I mean, I remember just seeing the strawberries and, like, the orange coating in the air. Like, that was disturbing. So not the strawberries, the citrus, of course, but I do feel like citrus fruit is going to be affected. And I think part of it is going to be because of, like, the Florida area, California, that sort of thing. So I think if you really like having citrus fruit, that is something that you're going to have to stock up on. That is the one thing that I made sure I got cans of. I did get cans of fruit. Everybody has so many contacts. Will he finish his term? I don't think so. I don't think he's well enough or safe enough. I really don't. I don't think either. But yeah, I don't have. Someone's asking like when exactly, and I said it. I told you guys a while ago. That's when you should have started. I wouldn't wait until you can't get things or it's through the roof because there's so few. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't be foolish about it. Don't spend like your life savings on cans of oranges or grapefruit or something. But if you're going to do it, then do it. But yeah, I do see that being interrupted. Obviously, we see like eggs, that there's like a huge issue there. And I think you're going to see that with, our chickens, our turkeys, all of our feathered friends are suffering right now. And that does spill over into what some people eat. So yeah, I do think that that's going to be a problem. And also too, one thing that I think we all learned during the pandemic is all these American-made cat and dog foods aren't actually made in America. And we started to have problems getting some of that, because I remember like I have a cat that's a fussy eater and it became a problem. But then when I started looking at the cans, I was like, oh, wait, it's actually made in China. This is an American company. What's happening? And so, yeah, we were picking like a war with China here. I would just be kind of concerned about that. So, but I also think too, this is kind of bringing me into food concerns in terms of virus related. Like what is safe to eat? What is going to be okay to eat? And if we do have like another pandemic situation, how is that going to like affect our flow of food coming in, and what, like all of that, right? So, and there is a global health problem. And it kind of got brought to my attention the other day. I was just kind of like on my phone and I saw that this really famous actress in Taiwan passed. And she was kind of young and she, like I forget her exact age, but I remember thinking like she's kind of young to be passing from a flu. Well, come to find out as I was looking, well, Taiwan, like their hospitals are starting to fill up with people having the flu. There's another one going on in Japan, filling up their hospitals. China is filling up their hospitals with it. So we're traveling to and from these countries, right? He always talks about, shutting the borders. Well, if we're going to shut a border or at least have some kind of restriction or something, I don't know. But if we're going to do something, I would think it'd be with one of these countries that is having like an actual problem here. But I do see the potential for that affecting our food. Yeah, and I don't think it's an accident, Terry, that he's decimating the CDC and the USAID and all of that. Attacking the CDC, World Health Organization, very similar to what he did last time, having issues with them. He always shows his hand. And now please do not forget the most important thing I told you guys before. Stop looking at the shiny thing over here because he's doing something weird and crazy and maniacal over here. So you're sitting there watching, oh, tariffs, Canada, Mexico, really scary. Oh my gosh, am I going to be able to afford anything? That's a distraction. He already knew what their response was going to be. I mean, I was not worried. I never thought for 1 minute like that was going to happen. Because you know what he wants. He just wants to come across as being a tough guy and having, actually Canada and Mexico had already agreed to having people at the borders. Like, okay. And in terms of the fentanyl issue with Canada, I mean, less than 1%. So if you're going to target a country for fentanyl, that's not the one. It's, yeah. So, so what are some of the things that we're not paying attention to? Well, Netanyahu's come to town, right? Coming to visit 45. What's that about? as he's distracting us with these things over here. And I will say, I do feel like we are going to be talking about that plane crash, because this is another thing that I feel like there's a distraction with layers and layers under it. And so that plane crash with the Black Hawk, and the plane that has the ice, that had the ice skaters on it, and I think it was like 64 people perished, and it was terrible, right? Really terrible. But a lot of it, and you can go down your own rabbit holes and look at how none of it made sense, and they're trying to backtrack some of the issues going into it. And I mean, just the flight pattern of the Black Hawk going like this, and then once we all figured out, okay, well, the Black Hawk actually had the same code given to it that would be given if somebody important was on board, then it got spun by the government saying, well, they was doing like a practice run. And something that you may find interesting for those of you guys that are in astrology, the pilot that they seem to be kind of pinning this on, her name is Rebecca, okay, or was Rebecca. And what I'm finding more and more interesting about astrology is the minor asteroids. So there was a minor asteroid named Rebecca, like perfectly aligned, and like an astrologer could explain it so much better than myself, but it had like Neptune there, and like Neptune, is like the planet of lies and deception. And it's sort of like, there's no way that this Rebecca pilot, given those circumstances with the astrology, wasn't going to have this happen. It was like very, very strange. But once again, I want you to, and I've been saying this to you guys for a few months, please start looking deeper. Did that plane crash feel right, or did something feel off? And the one thing I want to be really, really clear about, I do believe those innocent people lost their lives. What I'm going to argue is, I don't know if they needed to. And, but here's the thing. I do feel like for at least 6 to 8 weeks, we're still going to be talking about this. If we're still talking about this in April, I wouldn't be shocked, but certainly into March. There is something very off. Didn't it feel strange? And that's what I want you to start tuning into. When it feels wrong, there's something going on. Start using your own intuition, your own gut instinct. Something is absolutely going on. Now, the one thing that I will finish up with saying, and if you guys want to ask me a few questions at the end of this, I'll be more than happy to answer a few questions. But I just want to go on record with something that I did get in meditation this morning. So every morning, as you guys know, I wake up around 4:30. I go right into meditation and my channeling work. And I was asking the Rock Collective that I channel for some specifics, like really, really like numbers or something that we can kind of relate to. And so they gave me 2 years to look at and to share with you. The 2 years that we're going to be really paying attention to and talking about for a long time afterwards will be 2030 and 2037. Those are pivotal years. They're very fiery. These will be major changes in history, like bigger than the pandemic. And if you remember too, the Rod did say, like in a 10-year time frame, we would revisit a pandemic situation. Welcome, Kathleen. And so, yeah, so I just want to go on record as saying 2030 and 2037, something is up. And they were pretty specific, because normally I would say 2030-ish or 2037-ish, like it could be 36, 38. They were actually really specific, so I'm going to leave it at that. But you know what? That's 5 years and plus away. So let's not worry about it right now. No one will survive one more day, much less 2 years. We're fine. We're going to be fine. First of all, we've already done a 45 4-year term. We've already done it. Now he's going to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. We're going to make it through this. But you guys knew Pluto was going into Aquarius in November, right? We knew that every system that we have was going to break down. I think where I got it wrong is I thought this was a 20-year cycle. we're good for a long time. We got, years. That's where I got off. So like, those predictions that I made last month, I really thought it was going to last a year and then some. But no, time is speeding up. We're going to survive this. We are okay. Times are challenging. It's scary. And remember, I told you, this is the time to observe and not absorb. Watch what's going on, pay attention, right? You don't live in a utopia. You don't want to be, quite literally ignorant, but you don't need to just sit there and suck up all this stress and anxiety. You'll never get stressed and worried enough to make anything good out of it, right? So observe. You signed up for this. No one's here by, accident. You didn't just fall on this planet. You didn't get dropped from a stork. You're living a carefully orchestrated, planned life. You made a beautiful soul contract to be here during one of the most challenging times. So, let your light shine as a light worker. We're going to make it through this, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be stronger. And, all those things that we don't need anymore are going to fall away. And it's going to be okay. I love that, Donna. Yes, we are all in this together. We are. And as a collective, we've gotten it. And you know what? We're still ascending. We're leveling up. And I was so happy. Does anybody know the astrologer Steve Judd? Okay. He has a documentary coming out soon. I would say he's pretty famous in the astrology world. He said something the other day that I was like, this is what I've been saying. I was like, I have to tell you guys this. So he does a lot of readings too. He was talking about how he's had to scale back, with making this documentary. But I mean, like I've talked about, like I did 2,000 readings last year. I'm not doing that this year. But when you do that many readings, you start to see patterns. And he was talking about this, how in people's personal lives, their 2025 is going to be amazing. Looking at everything that's happening with the world, oh, crazy, chaos. But yet, it doesn't really seem to stop us from getting married, having that baby, getting the promotion, starting the business, becoming that millionaire, doing all these amazing things, traveling to new places. Maybe this is the year you get healthy. All of that's still happening. I can honestly tell you that out of like the 2,000 plus people that I read for last year, only three or four, okay, was doom and gloom. And it was all the same reason. They were stuck in relationships that they weren't willing to leave. They truly thought that there was no way out. And they were just staying, they made the choice. Even when like I could do the reading and I'd be like, but it looks like your mother's willing to help, or your sister, or actually wait, like you make more money, like you're fine, like financially you're good. They just had this belief system that they weren't willing to change. So, overall, as individuals, I think it's going to be amazing. So let's see. JFK files being declassified, and are they real? You know what? He declassified stuff last time, and what good did it do us? It's so heavily redacted. You're reading it, and it's like he, cat, dog, house. It's so redacted. It's just a bunch of words. So until I actually see it, I am going to just say, yeah. I don't want disclosure is not heavily redacted documents, right? It's just not. Let's see. So any questions for me? Will the FBI keep the staff it has now? Well, let's check. I haven't looked at the FBI actually. So let me take a look. Let's look at the FBI. Interesting question, Seska. I will get to yours because I have a thought and it's weird, but I'm pretty sure it's right. FBI, what do we need to know? Okay, Queen of Swords. My second card's my obstacle card. 5 of Cups. Next cards are the outcome cards. 8 of Swords, World card, Ace of Swords. Okay, so lots of sword energy, which is what you would expect with the FBI agency, right? So there is like this really strong energy of truth coming out and truth prevailing. Let's look a little deeper at why Five of Cups is the obstacle, the card of like sadness, grief, sorrow. Who is the sadness, grief, and sorrow for? Who is it for? Who's going to feel this way? Another sword. Page of Swords with Seven of Cups. So there is like some disillusionment going on. What I am thinking when I look at this, because it's starting a brand new phase, a new leaf is getting turned over, something's happening. They're feeling pretty restricted and stuck, but all this truth. So I'm now starting to think, wait, there's something that we just don't know about the FBI. I think there's something that's going to, here's the thing, I think this is going to be a theme for 2025. I've said this before, is all kinds of stuff coming out that like you just didn't see coming. And so I have a feeling something is coming. Elon June is going to be a separate video. Suska, I wanted to do yours because I had an interesting thought today on that. Let's see if I can find it. It goes by so fast. Suska asks, do you see any further rollback of women's rights like access to birth control or employment? Here's the thing, I actually don't, which I know sounds counterintuitive. Sort of like when I was off camera and I was reading on this whole thing with the tariffs with, you know, the 3 countries. And I was actually like all aces, like fertile new beginnings and new relationships and partnerships. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what's going on, but I know that the outcome is actually going to be more than okay. It's going to be better. And if you guys remember what I said in that video about RFK Jr., I said there is something about his health or an attack on him that I see coming up, which makes me think like something, you know, something's going to happen to him clearly. Which also makes me think that he very well could, you know, be confirmed. I could picture that. I could absolutely picture that. But one of his stances is actually abortion rights, and so it's weird. He's so unpredictable. He's such a mixed bag. You know, I'll be honest. You know, I'm always honest with you guys. I don't personally care for the man, but what I will say is he does bring up some points that I would agree with, that, you know, for all of us that travel, you know as well as I do, when you go to another country, the food is so different in terms of how toxic it is, right? Like, I mean, the food doesn't even taste the same. Just crossing the border into Mexico, they actually have like real food there. Like when I lived in Cambodia, when I've been to Egypt, Europe, the food is so different. Like, why are we adding all this stuff to it? And so, yeah, he's a weirdo. But I actually think women's rights are going to be more okay at the federal level than we're thinking. I think individual states are going to do whatever they're going to do. But I also see people getting away from some of these states. And I think there's going to be a mix-up. Once again, this could be sooner than later, you know, where time is speeding up, where people are flocking to states that have better rights for people. You know, that's what I'm seeing. Violet's talking about 9 energy. Yeah, so it's 2025. So this is a 9 year. Now, this is where I remember I said like everything seems a little off. The tarot seems a little off. The astrology seems a little off. The numerology seems a little off. Everything seems a little off. Not profoundly off, not 100% off, but a little funny, right? Things just seem a little off here. So in a 9 year, that's our endings, right? A 9 year is when you end stuff, you tie up loose ends because you're getting ready for the 1 year, which would be 2026. 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So it's a 1 year. But I can tell you from doing these thousands of readings, People are not waiting until 2026 to have that 1 year. Somehow they're having a 1 year in a 9 year. Time has sped up. Timelines are like crashing. It's really bizarre to watch it from a psychic point of view. Can I explain more about our new money system so it's less scary? I don't know. Was it scary? I guess my bigger question is me saying, yeah, banks need to go because they're gouging us. It doesn't, I mean, does a bank really work for you? Like, who is here saying, you know what, I love the surcharges. I love what it, like, if I don't have enough, like, if they actually charge me more. Or I loved paying the 10 extra years on my mortgage or giving decades of my life for my college loans. Like, how is it scary? I mean, because I'll tell you, whoever was president, this was going to happen. That's why when I did the 2025 predictions, I said, I'm doing these predictions for whomever is president, whatever timeline we end up in. It's just changing, and there is nothing backing our dollar, but you know that. We've been living like that now for like 50 years. But it can't last forever. It's okay. It's change. It's different. It's okay. I don't, you know, but the other thing too is like, I don't know if it's my job to reassure people. I think as I start crossing some lines, you know, take the information I give you, do with it as you will. Thank you, Ernie. I'm trying to see. It goes by so fast. I'm sorry. Like, when you read it. Diane is asking about like natural disasters with Washington State. Washington State, like I've said, it's the four corners of the country that I just don't. I just see fire, too much water, too hot, too cold, everything in excess. You know, so I don't feel anything good, and I'm still seeing that underwater volcano. I am not exactly sure where it is, but I do feel like it's the Pacific, if I had to pick. The Panama Canal, nothing's going to happen. I mean, what's really going to, I mean, that's the thing. Stop looking at the shiny thing. That's like silliness, right? That's silliness. You know, I'm going to call the Panama Canal the Banana Canal. It's a bunch, like, in the long, you know, in the long run, how does that affect your life? You know, if we call it Bartholomew, your life will go on. You'll get up tomorrow, you'll have your breakfast, brush your teeth, go to work, whatever it is you do. Don't let the distractions get in the way. Renaming like Gulf of Mexico, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. But what I want you to do is look at when you see those distractions and they seem really foolish and over the top. It's meant to be foolish and over the top because there's something over there that you're not looking at. Jasmine, you're moving to Cambodia. Any tips? It's really easy to get fresh water over there. Like, that's a misconception that you can't. Electricity is truly expensive, 2.5 times more than America. But you know what? You can get like lots of fresh foods. The quality of life is great. Definitely wear a mask because of the air pollution. That would be my suggestion. The people are super friendly and lovely over there. Federal workers being fired. I mean, I think that was bound to happen. I mean, that's what Pluto and Aquarius was going to do, right? Like, we knew that. Pluto and Aquarius, that's kind of its jam. It's to tear down old structures. I'm going to be doing videos this week on transitioning from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. And as we're in the midst of all that, and nobody can agree on the exact date, but I'm going to say I feel it. It's changing. It's now. That is it. It tears it down. So I think, you know, when you look at all this astrology, it's meant to be. So firing federal workers. Okay, let's see. Okay, so interesting. King of Wands. That is actually my card for 45 when he's at his best, right? Because you know half the time that's not the card we get on this channel for him. But that's actually him when he's at his best, or when he thinks he's at his best. Obstacle, okay, there's some truth that's not coming out. There's truth that's being suppressed here. Something isn't adding up. Ace of Swords. Ace of Pentacles, okay, so that's, all right, strange. We have two aces right off the bat here. King of Pentacles. Six of Swords. Okay, so interesting how this somehow benefits our country financially. And once again, I am feeling more and more like I don't get some of these details, and I think we're not meant to. This is a financial, more prosperous new beginning for us as a collective. Now, I understand if you're a federal worker, you're living in fear, you've lost your money, or you're about to, that's scary. But things will actually get easier and better for us as a collective, and I think for the individuals too. There's something there that I think we don't know. And that's kind of like my sense with the FBI. And this is what I just keep getting. I just keep feeling like that Neptune energy, I guess, where like everything's like a lie, deceit. There's things that we don't know. And it's not that the federal workers are bad, right? They're just doing their job. They're going to work. They're trying to pay their bills, make a living. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Joni, I agree with that. Joni says, I don't think crypto as we know it, maybe something similar but more secure. Yes, that I agree with. I don't particularly care for crypto the way it is. It's not regulated. But one of the things that I should say, I don't know if I said this in my 2025 video, is that there will be international regulations. And I think one thing that I'm going to predict with 45 is he's going to get all upset and all angry because some countries are going to make agreements. And he's not going to like that. You know, maybe the US won't be a part of it, or he won't want to agree to it, or something like that. And so, yeah. Any major California earthquake? Yes. Yeah, Sylvan, I agree. Musk should not be touching anything to do with Social Security, our private information. No, no, no. Like, that is not okay. Do I think people will be moving away from federal jobs? Sure, yeah. Will the collective witness galactic ships or contact this year? You know, I think if you had asked me a few months ago, I think I would have given you a pretty firm no. But where the timeline is speeding up, I won't rule it out that it's going to be this year. I'm not. The only thing, like I've said before, is watch out for deception. Watch out for people like fake. Like I've told you before, it would not surprise me if 45 put some, you know, short person, like take a child, put them into like a little gray suit with big eyes and brings them out, you know? So once again, if that situation doesn't feel right, if and when it happens, please check with your gut instinct. I think there will be something there. Any blackouts this year? Like more than usual? I mean, I wasn't seeing any profound blackouts. I didn't particularly look at them, but I can ask, because I know people get into like the solar flares, but please understand that there are YouTube channels dedicated to solar flares because it makes money. The whole notion with these solar flares is to keep you scared. I mean, I've seen some of them. They're so fear-inducing. If I wasn't psychic, I would hide under the bed after watching some of these folks. There's solar flares every single day. Every day. Some of them are huge even. Okay? So people need to like take a deep breath with the solar flares causing blackouts and knocking out, you know, our electricity and technology and satellites and this and that. And it's a money-making scheme. Okay? It's sort of like those people that say, I channel the what and insert extraterrestrial or ascended master. And they say, this is the month that this huge thing is going to happen. Here comes the apocalypse. And then you see them like the next month. This group is saying, this is now the month. And it's like, look, it's clickbait, people. Like, stop. It's clickbait. It's clickbait. Stop, stop, stop. It's ridiculous. Let me see. So blackouts, anything that we actually need to be concerned about. Now, if you don't like blackouts, don't move to Cambodia because they don't, it's like parts of Africa and other countries too, where they don't have a big enough of a grid. So you will deal with rolling blackouts. Okay, let's see. Page of Swords, Obstacle, Two of Pentacles, Hermit, Five of Wands, Five of Pentacles. Yeah, I would say that there's probably going to be a decent blackout. Are these scary cards? Not necessarily. I think it's interesting that the two that are negative are fives, and fives are about change. So yeah, there is something, I think, something that we'll be learning and knowing. But on the other hand too, like, yeah, maybe it's upsetting while it happens, but I don't get like this changes our way of life. It's a blackout. So maybe for a day or something, you can't access something. You know, I don't think it's like the world's worst thing. I mean, it's always disconcerting whenever, you know, you have something like that and you can't access your stuff or you're going without something. But yeah, I'm not overly worried. Am I still having, no, the drones and whatnot have stopped. The last one was that flying hot dog bun thing. It was like a flying hot dog with the light up bun that just like parked in front of my house. We got like the best pictures. It was absolutely wild. And then it just stopped. And, but then also too, Logan started sending the planes back across. So like the FAA was doing their thing again. So very, very strange. Very, very strange. So I wanted to show you, I'm going to do my 3-card pick using this. And it's funny because this is called Everyday Witch. And I've looked for this deck for like over a year, but I didn't know its name. I just saw other YouTubers use it. And I kept saying like in my searches, black cat, black cat. It's not black cat. I was like, oh yeah, it does have a witch, you know, on there. And if you like books, this thing comes with a book. You know, it's gorgeous. So it's just so funny. So I was looking for black cats and it's like, and I was like, oh yeah, there are witches on there, isn't there? But when you look at the back, like you can even see the black cats there. So I just thought that was funny. Okay, so, and I love this. So like I've been using this with my clients. It's been fantastic. So what I want you to do, just take a nice deep breath, ask the universe, what is the most important thing for you to know right now? 1, 2, or 3. And I'm just going to ask everyone, if you haven't already, because it makes such a huge difference with my algorithm, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, check out membership. Diane Aquarius is my website if you do want a reading in March. And then that is, those 30-minute psychic tarot readings are going. So I just want to put that in the back of your minds. So 1, 2, or 3. Number 1, Page of Swords. Okay, so Page of Swords is about going on a new journey, a new adventure, having that confidence. And it's swords. So is it time to like write that book, do the podcast, do the blog, start the YouTube channel, start opening up your throat chakra and speaking your truth. This could also talk about traveling and moving, taking action. Okay. Number 2, King of Wands. So how are you going to level up to be like your most charismatic, business-like, fierce, passionate self, right? He's like the ultimate entrepreneur. He's full of charisma, full of personality. He has a love for life. How can you incorporate that energy into your life? Have you been like sitting back and like, that you want to start this hobby or start this side hustle, start this business, start this new venture, get a promotion at work, level up. What's been holding you back? Okay. And then number 3, 4 of Cups. What are you being wishy-washy on? What decision, if you made it, would change your life? Instead of feeling kind of apathetic, like, oh, I don't want that cup and that cup and that cup. And, what could you actually make a decision about to move your life forward? Because there's something there. There is absolutely something there. So, all right, my friends, don't forget the 2 special angel members channelings with the Galactic Confederation, with that Syrian Council, Keepers of Ancient Wisdom. Don't forget the class on March 2nd. It's a live 2-hour class. It's a Saturday. Awaken your mind and higher levels. You can join. It's really easy. Just hit the join button. The Starseed Money Code. Okay. Unlocking your galactic abundance frequencies. So many of you are stuck, and it's time that you break free. It's time. And I just want to show you the Ana Luisa one more time. Love these products. Like, literally everything that I'm wearing right now is Ana Luisa. So, all right, my friends, look for some more videos this week. And I have a bunch of clients that I'm seeing tomorrow. So, all right, I look forward to seeing everyone, and have a beautiful week. Bye, guys.